Welcome to Mobick Explained, your gateway to the Mobick ecosystem. How's everyone doing? Personally, I'm riding the waves of excitement that Bitcoin and BTCMobick bring every day. So you could say I'm doing great. However, seeing Roger Ver arrested for tax fraud has prompted me to speak up. As we all know, Roger's contributions to Bitcoin in the early days of crypto are not something to be forgotten. We all owe him a lot as an industry. Bitcoin adoption would have been much slower without people like him evangelizing it. I wouldn't label myself a libertarian, but I do have a streak of libertarianism in me. It all began during my time in the army. You see, all able-bodied Korean men are required to complete 2 years of mandatory military service. I don't inherently oppose the idea, but those 2 years made me realize that I was just a cog in a vast machine, and a dispensable one at that. As a private, I grew close to a private first class named Kim. We were similar in age and got along well. He helped me a lot in many ways, even when he faced bullying from higher-ranking soldiers. Then one rainy day, I saw an ambulance rush by, its siren blaring. Later, I learned that Kim had tragically died in an accident. A sergeant had ordered him to fix high-voltage electrical wires in the rain, and Kim obeyed, resulting in electrocution. The sergeant denied giving him such an order, and the military police didn't bother to find out what really happened. The Korean government that Kim had sworn to protect only compensated his family with a paltry sum of $10 for cremation. That incident completely shifted my perspective on my own government. My skepticism turned into conviction a few years later. My granduncle suffered a seizure one day, leaving him paralyzed. He lost control of his body and stayed bedridden until he passed away. He was a very wealthy businessman with a number of properties and businesses. Despite his substantial wealth, his family was not exempt from financial worries after his passing. In South Korea, inheriting from parents can incur taxes of up to half of your fortune. Faced with the maximum tax rate, his family became entangled in a prolonged legal dispute with the National Tax Service. Since only my granduncle had a comprehensive understanding of his business affairs, his surviving family members struggled to gather the necessary documents to support their request for tax exemption. In the end, they were forced to sell off nearly all of their properties to settle the taxes, leaving them financially strained. In a nutshell, the government took away half of my granduncle's fortune with double taxation. Your own government can become your greatest enemy when you're at your lowest. Rather than extending a helping hand, they often trample you, making it near impossible to rise again. I love my country as much as the next guy, but certainly none more. That's one of the reasons I chose to leave my homeland and settle in Thailand 10 years ago. Roger Ver renounced his U.S. citizenship in 2014, but that didn't deter the IRS from pursuing him. They are after him due to his purported ownership of hundreds of thousands of bitcoins. While Roger won't back down easily, neither will the IRS. Some countries have started taxing crypto investments, and if yours hasn't, it likely will in the near future. Their aim? To steer people towards centralized exchanges, allowing them to monitor individuals' Bitcoin holdings closely. As more people deposit their Bitcoins in such exchanges, governments inch closer to exerting control over Bitcoin. This isn't what Satoshi Nakamoto and the cypherpunks envisioned, but it seems inevitable. So what's your move? Hand over your reins on Bitcoins to the IRS willingly? No, you can fight back. You can actually slow the tide. If you have Bitcoins with no digital footprint, there's no need to disclose your holdings to anyone. Your Bitcoins might even appreciate twofold compared to those on centralized exchanges in a decade, as numerous Chinese millionaires vie to acquire them. What about BTCMobick? Apart from wallets belonging to the project team and wallets that are locked up, nobody knows who owns how much. Since it's not listed on any exchanges, there's no way to ascertain ownership. It trades peer-to-peer via paper and digital wallets, making tracing transactions almost impossible. Paying taxes and being a responsible citizen? Absolutely. But you also need a shield to protect yourself when your own government comes after you with double taxation. Arm yourself with paper wallets and observe how your government handles crypto assets left in exchanges wallets over the next 10 years. You might just thank me later. Charles Hoskinson believes that Roger's arrest has something to do with the recent IRS look-through that Binance had. Think twice before using a centralized exchanges. Stay tuned and stay excited. Mobick Probe signing off.